I'm Donna Hegarty and I'm the Development Manager at Neighbourhood Networks. And basically we support individuals who are often at risk of isolation or loneliness to be as connected as possible with their communities and to be able to live independently. So we support them to develop lots of life skills and natural friendships and relationships to really live life to the full, really.
I'm Lauren May and I'm the Operations Manager for Neighbourhood Networks.
If we think back a year ago, the kind of key thing for us is about bringing people together and making sure that people have friends that they can do activities with and learn in their communities. And all of our staff are brought on for their one-to-one skills, their personal skills. So the big thing for us, I suppose, when this hit was that most of our frontline staff were not exactly what you would call hugely IT literate. Some of them were, just because they happened to be, but it wasn't a key skill that we were looking for at recruitment at that time, because it was a very small part of their job. So for us, when we were looking at what needed to happen, the key things were that we wanted the members to not be bored. They were bored when we think back at the first lockdown. People didn't know what to do. They needed to fill their time. And we're here to help people develop and reach outcomes. And we wanted to kind of show that we could continue to do that. So we were looking for solutions in an online environment where we could continue to allow people to meet up and continue to learn. So we needed to get the staff on board first to make sure that they knew how to do that. They were supported to do that, and they knew that we were there to support them as well. So a lot of it was Lauren and I in the first instance, taking a lead on things and bringing in external facilitators, whereas now the staff themselves lead so many of the activities. So that's been a huge change. But also looking back there as well, many of the people that we support, because of their additional needs, whether that's learning disability, mental health, their parents and carers were not really confident in allowing them online. Would you say that, Lauren? So we had to do specific training and awareness sessions for the parents and carers about how we were going to keep people safe. If you think back then, that's when everybody was all up in arms about safety and all these horror stories. And we had to kind of show, this is how we're going to run things. These are the controls that we have in place, and this is how we're going to keep your people safe. So that we could kind of put our contract out, I suppose. And then we also developed ground rules, a digital code of conduct. So our activities are maybe a bit different in that they're not just open to anybody. So our logins and everything are pretty protected, and they're on private groups and things like that, because we don't just share it full and wide, and that is with a protection emphasis, I have to say.
Although we have started to think about opening our digital activities up to other people in the community that we would do in the real world. If we were having a network activity or an event or hosting something, we would be encouraging people for the community to come along and get involved and build connections. We've developed a digital recommendation form for people to refer into Neighbourhood Networks, where they get involved with some of the activities. And the people who've got involved have really enjoyed it. And I think the thing for us is that the organisations we're in contact with have just not even know that they've not thought about digital, but they've just know in the same journey that we have.
They've not been able to.
We're obviously quite kind of ahead of a lot of organisations as well, so we've been able to kind of offer that back out to other providers and organisations, which is working well.
I mean, there's lots of stories, I would say, about how it's changed people's lives for them. I mean, we've run a whole variety of activities throughout the week, and they've changed during the course of the year as well. But there was one chap, for example, who got his first tenancy for a flat quite soon into lockdown, and he had no kind of cooking skills at all. And of course, at that point, he wasn't able to really get any support from other agencies about how to learn to do that. Cooking class online every Wednesday, and he was able to learn skills and learn how to cook at that. And now he's absolutely fine to kind of get involved and cook his own dinners and stuff. And for him, that was a huge achievement because he didn't have any of that knowledge or skills prior to the classes taking part and prior to lockdown. And I think the cooking in particular, it's always something that we've supported in smaller groups in a local environment, for each network. But actually digital has allowed us to expand that substantially, where that one class can now reach 200 people at the one time, and you can still be really interactive with it.
So the digital activities have been an opportunity for members to get to know people out with their own network, their own local area, and really, really develop relationships. And there's all sorts of plans. And thinking about how we're going to meet up when, do you know what I mean, we can, because of those connections that have been built.
We've made that decision that it's staying, because in so many ways it allows us to reach a much wider audience with some of the activities that we do. We need to be quite responsive as well, so it does depend what the members are involved, what they want. And they've asked, they're right into drama, so we've been looking at how we can get some more drama in there. Some more quizzes, and also it's our 20th birthday this coming year as a charity being operational in Scotland, so we've got a whole variety of things to celebrate that and to capture some of the stories. So one of the activities that we're introducing is teaching people more about how to make their own videos, which again has been delivered online.
Been using Zoom, you know what I mean, to do that and have those conversations as well. You complete support plans with people and their families as well. Although obviously the digital activities is a big focus, I think the connection that community living workers can have through these digital forums for some of the more kind of the different parts of our service, I think, you know what I mean, that we offer as well. That's been a real advantage.
There's definitely more regular opportunities for us to bring the staff teams together to share knowledge. And for them, so we've got specific kind of support groups where different teams can come together and share what's going on, or seek advice from their colleagues, or how are you approaching that? It was a wee bit more difficult before, or maybe it was just artificially difficult, but now it's kind of been brought together because we're used to doing it in other areas. So it's like, hey, why don't we do this? And of course it saves on travel, it saves on transport costs. You're just automatically there, so it doesn't take up quite as much time as it did before.